That we can get a nice picture on here, everyone. So if I go around too much, yeah. In fact, Davy, do you want me to go all the way around? Just over here is fine. Okay. Let's just start here, everyone, just to let her also just relax with our presence a little bit. So that is Thandi now up in the tree. Looking over her shoulder. I wonder what she's looking at. No sign of the cub just yet, but we've only just got here, so it might be in one of these adjacent trees, lying on the ground. Who knows? Maverick, thanks for your greeting. Yes, good morning, Thandi, indeed. I'll just keep my voice nice and low. I don't want to startle her in any way. Maverick, thanks for sending your greetings through all the way to Africa. Not sure where you are, but, well, what a wonderful way to start the day. And coming and sitting with a leopard. And there's still quite a bit of meat on that little Steenbok there, looks like. And the legs, I've got all the meat on them. It looks like it's lovely to see the little Steenbok tracks that will be presented from those little hooves. But it looks like they've done typically what leopard do. They sort of disembowel it, get to all the rich stuff, the liver and the kidney and the heart, and that's eaten first. Make sure that you get the prize organs and then move on to the meat of flesh itself. Now, 13 Rainbow, I wasn't present. Obviously, Brent was the one that watched the kill itself. But you say that she worked really hard for this kill. Well, yeah, and like I was chatting about yesterday afternoon, it's always a gamble. You've got to be putting in the right amount of energy, because you want to get more energy out than what you expend. So it's very important for them to make sure that they don't expend more energy than what they're going to get back from it. And it looks like she's dozing off, that she's almost falling off on the left-hand side of that branch there. Yeah, it doesn't look like ultimately comfortable, does it? It looks like she's got a bit of a swing-type seat, and then the branch coming out underneath her chest. Well, yeah, she doesn't seem ultimately comfortable. And just so you know, we are the first ones here this morning, but no doubt there are going to be some vehicles pulling in as well, and I think that's what she's now looking over her shoulder. She can hear some other vehicles approaching, because obviously this is now going to be a very high-profile sighting. And we'll obviously just try and stay in here as long as we can, but we also need to respect the other game viewers and give them a chance as well. I wonder where the little cubby is. Now, KB, you're wondering about the cub and if it's been seen eating in a tree before. I don't believe it has. I think yesterday was one of the first times that it has been up a tree, and Davy's nodding in agreement. So I think that's exactly true, that yesterday was the first time we've actually seen it properly climb up a tree and start to feed on it out of a tree like that. So maybe this is the first learning curve that Thandi has been showing towards the cub. Show it how to hoist something up a tree and stash it, cache it, and then you can come back later. So maybe this is all part of that training that she's giving her little cub. Morning, everyone. Morning, morning. St. Mark, there can be the odd occasion, but cats are so sort of, well, especially leopard, they're so adept at climbing up in trees, and even you see when she's dozing off and she leans to the side, she always corrects herself. And so I've never seen a leopard fall out of a tree. I've seen lions fall out of trees, but leopards, they climb out of trees, and that's all that I've seen. I've never seen a falling leopard. Lions can climb up trees, but getting down is the problem. Whereas leopard, it's almost like they're built for this. It's been evolved over many years, and obviously just to get that food up a tree, they've isolated themselves that the other predators then can't come and steal that meat of theirs. All right, everyone. I hope that we'll be able to find the little cub around. We're going to sit here and wait and see what happens. But let's head on over to Steve and see what his plan is. I think he might be going to Chitwa. Yep, and she hasn't moved very much, everybody. And nice to see how her legs are hanging down there with the tail. You can see totally at ease and fast asleep, in fact. So, well, that's a sleeping leopard. Wonderful to see the tail. Look at those feet there as well. Nice to see the track that would be printing in the sand as she walks. That's what we're looking for when we're driving around looking for tracks. And how the whole foot is actually raised with only the fingers making prints. Algleave, well, there's a lot of chance that another leopard could come into this area. There's probably lots of smell coming off of this dead Steenbok, and I think that's probably why Thandi's guarding it and actually sleeping with her face in it. And look at that. She's really not letting this one go. I think she wants the cub probably to feed more off of it, because she could have probably flattened that whole thing on her own. But I have a feeling that this is more so about a few lessons for the cub. She's also gone up this African wattle, and it's quite an easy sort of climb. I think that has been chosen more so for the cub as well. Look at that easy climb up there. She could have gone up a marula with a very thick trunk and making it very difficult for any other predator to get up there, and easier to defend as well if another leopard comes up. But she's chosen a nice easy route. I'm almost certain this is for the cub. So the cub is able to get up to the kill, and also there is some meat left now for it. So I think this is a little bit of training, a little bit of lessons for the little youngster. I don't know where it is. I think it's probably not quite comfortable sleeping in a tree. So it's probably sleeping in the grass somewhere. Leopard girl, yes, absolutely. Predators can smell that meat. I can actually smell it a little bit as well sometimes when the smell comes in my direction, and my smell's not that good at all. But the other predators, number one being that of the hyena, he's going to pick that smell up very quickly, as well as I wouldn't be surprised if there's not hyena tracks all around here. I haven't really had a look, but there could quite easily have been a hyena walking around this tree all night, and other leopards as well. Yes, definitely. The wind just needs to blow in the right direction, and they'll pick up the smell of that carcass. Especially once they open that stomach up, then you get that it's a very pungent smell, very strong. And so that, yes, definitely. Other predators, leopard, lion, hyena, all of them would be able to pick that up. And one of the reasons why I should stash it up in a tree like that, or take it up, because hyenas can't get up there. They'll be jumping up and down right below her, but they can't get anywhere near her. They can't climb up a tree. The only two that they need to worry about is other leopards and, of course, lions, because a lion would be able to get up this African wattle, but they wouldn't be able to get all the way to her without her having, fighting back. It's quite a thin branch for them to be able to climb up. But the potential is there that they could get to her, but she's guarding that very well. And it's because of all of these reasons. But she's got a lovely vantage point. She'll be able to see from there if anything else is coming. And she'll have good warning. But I'm sure during the night she was not alone. And maybe why the little cub is nowhere to be seen. Maybe hidden itself in one of these bushes just nearby, and like I was saying just now, probably more comfortable in the grass. Yes, James Richard, thank you. This is a real breakfast in bed. Yeah, bed and breakfast. She's putting new meaning to that. With her face right in the kill. Breakfast with a view. Pangolin, not very common. I haven't seen too many animals using a carcass as a pillow. I think it's just convenient in this particular situation. I've seen lions sleeping on, almost inside giraffe and buffalo carcasses, and the youngsters doing that as well, but not very regularly. And I haven't seen leopard doing this kind of thing, but a very small kill for Thandi, and perfect size for the little cub to be able to come through. And I'm almost 100% sure it's because she's left a lot of meat on this for the cub, and she's just protecting it, overly protective over it, and as a result, probably also because of the predators walking around below this tree during the night, that she's almost saying, mine, not a chance, nobody else is going to get this. Alright, I might change position soon and just maybe get a different view. Hopefully we're going to see the cub, but I'm not going anywhere just yet. This is too exciting. But however, let's head you on over to the bushwalk team. I think Brent's got a hole to show you. Oh, thanks, Brent. And I tell you what, everybody, it's quite exciting because we've heard it sounds like the Avoca males, or through the intelligence that we've received at Chitwa Dam. They've just been calling now. So I think Steve might be on his way there in a bit, and he might catch up with them. But I tell you what, it's quite exciting because they might make their way over here if they get a sniff of this kill up in the tree. And they're opportunists, so they could definitely come this way. However, for the moment, the wind is blowing in the opposite direction. It's blowing from them to us. So in that sense, you might be lucky that they haven't picked up the scent just yet. But it's that time of the morning where the wind can start swirling in a little while. Once it warms up, once the sun gets up a little bit, it could actually change direction, going straight back towards them. So we'll wait and see. It could get quite exciting here. There's still no sign of the little cub. I wonder where it is, but as I still think it's hidden here somewhere in a bush. Corbett, a good question. The protection of the cub if hyenas arrive. Well, cats, the biggest defense I always say of cats getting away from those animals that lurk on the ground is the easiest is just to climb a tree. Now, I hear that the little cub hasn't been climbing too many trees, but I'm sure it's very adept at that. It could put those claws out and up it goes. So either getting up a tree or hiding itself, getting away where it can't be seen in a nice thick brush or bush, or even especially inside something thorny, and just being very still and very quiet. And it would be very skillful at this, because remember, Mommy and Thandi has been leaving the cub for 3-4 days at a time. And in those times, it needs to be very quiet, just staying still inside a thicket, and especially if something comes around. So it won't be the first time that she has come face to face or been in the area or the vicinity of hyena. I'm sure of that. She survived this far. She understands the dangers of other predators, and that would have been down to the skillful sort of allowance from Mom that she experiences these things, but it just tries to point her in the right direction. But it's very interesting how the cubs of most predators instinctively are very very good at just being very still, silent, quiet when any other predators come around, whether it be at the den site or where they've been left by the adults. They just go in there and they know they're alone. They just be quiet, stay still, and you'll be all right. And then you see when mommy or the adults come back, and they do the little contact call and they call the babies out, and then you can see how excited they get because they've obviously spent a lot of time inactive, just holding up and evading the other predators, waiting for the return. And the return is then greeted with bountiful energy and jumping around and really enjoying themselves and happy that they're now allowed out of their prison that is keeping themselves safe from predators. Beautiful to see the rosettes and some of the spots on the back end and down the tail. And very relaxed leopard she is indeed. But if those lions come closer, she won't be so relaxed. Anna Marie, the potential is there that she could have this kill stolen by lions. As I say, it is a rather thin trunk or branch that's going out that she's lying on. So maybe that's what she's banking on, that these lions would find that quite difficult. But a female lion or a sub-adult, or even these males could have a go. But I almost think that they could get up there to that Steenbok and then literally fall out of the tree from there. She's not extremely high either, so I think she's out of reach from the ground, but she's not high. It's high enough that that a lion could get up and literally fall out from there without injuring itself too much. So all the possibilities are there, and that's why I think she's still guarding that very well. Because but I think still fascinating that she's really giving the cub a chance to be able to get up to that easy road up in a wattle. Because the best would be to get up a marula, where you've got a very long trunk before you have any branches, and almost impossible for a lion to get up. They would really struggle. So she has made it easier for the other predators, but it's because of the teachings that I think she's making available for the little cubby, for Tlalamba. Okay, so not far from here is Chitwa and those Avoca male lions, and Steve's on his way there. Let's see how he's getting on. Thanks, Brent. And, well, everyone, we're just going to be slowly moving our way around Thandi. We are going to change position slightly so that we get different views, different perspectives on this beautiful cat. So this is one here through the bushes. But the reason I'm not going to be going anywhere because the sun is starting to get a little bit up, and there's every potential that she could start to wake up a little bit. Maybe start to have a bit of a feed. Maybe the little cub comes and shows itself and joins her up the tree, maybe eating a little bit of the meat as well. Carol, that is quite possible that the cub now is just laying low until mommy gives it the go-ahead to come and join her. So that might be the case, and that's well imprinted now into that little cubby, that once it is time to go and be quiet, it stays like that until mommy gives the little contact call, the little a little small little growl. It's not a growl, it's just a little, it's difficult to explain, but she just does a ow, ow. And out the little Tlalamba will bound and run up the tree here, I'm sure. It'd be interesting if only we could know what has happened during the night. I'm sure there's been sinister hyenas walking around, and that's most likely why this little cub is nowhere to be found. But Thandi does look very relaxed, however, still guarding that Steenbok carcass. very tightly. Minamu, the pads don't generally wear out on a leopard. They are quite rough and they're quite thick as well. I have seen them with sort of a little bit of bleeding around on their pads when they have been excessively running over rocks and possibly even chasing prey, etc. But they never wear out completely. That regenerates. It's a little bit like the heel of your foot. So you can get quite thick skin on the heel of your foot, but it will never wear out. It can come and go. So I'm going to reposition, get a little bit on her face, and while I do that, let's head you on over to Brent. Very exciting. He's got some big animals on foot. Yeah, and I think, it's very descriptive, catnapping. I think there's not many animals that can sleep as well as cats can. I think they are the epitome of the perfect sleepers, and it's very interesting. But I just wanted to give you a little bit of some information on Thandi herself and her lineage and her family tree. Thandi, she was born in December of 2006, so she's about 12 years old. Her spot pattern is she's got 3 on either side of her nose, and we can see the top line there just above the whiskers. It's 1 dot and then 2 big dots quite close to each other, and we can only see this left side of her face, but the other side is 3 as well, 3 dots now that she's fallen into her slumber there a little bit lower. She is the daughter of Karula, and potentially the father being Fufunyan or Jordan. So one of the 2 males that was her father. Is probably not sure which of the 2 was her father, but definitely Karula, who has passed on, was her mother. And then she's got a couple of siblings, of which Hosanna is one of them, Shongile, and then there's also Kunyuma, Quarantine, as well as Shadow. So she's got a few siblings there, and she has sired, she has given birth to 3 cubs, which she has been able to bring through, which is Kuchava, Tamba, and now Tlalamba. So she gave birth, this is her 3rd set, or 3rd time that she's given birth now with Tlalamba, last year in November, and Tamba was born in 2016, and that was with Tingana. And Kuchava was born in 2014, and the father was Mvula. So there's just a little bit of a background in terms of the family tree and some of her siblings, etc. Now, she's still not very comfortable on that branch. It doesn't look very comfortable. So I think she keeps shifting around, trying to get a better position. But I'm still waiting to see if she has a bit of a feed or she calls the cub in. That's it. Oh, there's a stretch. She hasn't been able to stretch properly because it hasn't been very comfortable. That's what we've been waiting for. Listen. She's giving a call. That's for the little cub. I think it's time the cub is going to come. Where are you, Tlalamba? She gave one little contact call there. I think she's looking for Tlalamba. Definitely. So, I think that was Darby's stomach, if you heard that. That wasn't her contact calling. He's waiting for breakfast, as are we waiting for Thandi and Tlalamba to have breakfast. We're all getting hungry here next to this carcass. Sharon, yes, the little Tlalamba will recognize that it's Thandi calling her with that little contact call. She's been doing it a couple of more times now, and just waiting there. Very, very soft call. And obviously because she doesn't want to give away the presence of a little cub to other predators as well. So that little contact call is very soft, normally when they're very close to the area where the cub is. There we go. So that was enough times for the little cub to possibly have heard her. Very exciting. I'm sure we're going to see this little cub pop out any minute now. Shame, Thandi looks quite tired, but she's sitting up because she's not in a very comfortable position there. There's someone calling. Just little, oh. You can actually see from the way she's breathing when she does do her little call. As she also is falling asleep. Probably been quite a busy night, I think. Animals walking around here, hyenas and maybe other leopards. Looking this way. I wonder if the cub's on the side by us. Beautiful. Going a little bit louder now. Looks like a little bit more comfortable there. Don't know how long that's going to last though. Still calling the cub. And listening behind her too. I'm sure something's happened here during the evening. That's why this cub has gone and hidden itself and she doesn't quite know where it is. That's to be expected when you're next to a kill. Siddhar, I'm glad that you've been able to experience that with us this morning, saying that you haven't experienced it before. Well, it is one of those special moments, and now we just wait for the cub to show itself. She started to call a little bit louder, almost just trying to make the little cub know. Maybe the cub is also very tired. Maybe it's been quite nervous with some of the night's goings on. So maybe he hasn't picked up Mummy's call just yet. But it's surprising because really you can... There she goes again. Beautiful. But you can also look at the mood of her with those ears down like that. Not obviously ultimately relaxed. Listening behind her, looking in front. I think she wants her cub to come now. Wake up, Tlalamba. Come on, show yourself. Now, Cat, I think it's better for her up in the tree there where she's calling. Her voice is going to carry further. So she could go down the tree and call as well. But I think from where she's sitting, she's probably going to throw her voice a little bit better from up there. As I say, still concerned, I think, with that stashed kill that she's got. It's amazing. I mean, we think as humans, oh, well, let's just leave that and come down, get your cub, and you can go back up. But you know how quickly things can change. It could be a predator just waiting for her to come down and maybe get attacked or anything. You know, you never know what's going to happen out here. So she's gotten this far by doing what she does. I think I'll trust her methods. Muldoon, I think it's a little bit far for the lions to hear her calling for her cub, as she's doing again now. And that's also one of the reasons why it's just a very low, quiet little contact call that she does, because she doesn't want that sound to carry too far. She just wants it to carry in a general vicinity that we're in at the moment. That's why sometimes it can take a little... Oh, here we go, just in front. Little cub just making its way through the grass. There he is. There he is. She is, sorry. There she is. Very quietly, sheepishly making herself through the grass. I can hear Thandi also doing a little bit of... It's like... Between... Ooh. Actually, sorry, I thought it was Thandi, but in fact, it's Steve with the lions, and they're roaring. So, well, we're just waiting. Look how she's relaxed. She's obviously, okay, there you are. But the way that this little cub is going so quietly, so slowly, so almost sheepishly through the grass here, it's leading me to believe even more so now that there was trouble during the night. And there were other predators around, because it's really not ready to show itself. But it's making its way through the grass there. Mommy's looking down at it now. If you can't see it, that's how good the camouflage is. We're just waiting to see if it starts to climb up the tree. And always good, once they've been separated like that, you're always going to see a bit of a greeting ceremony once they are reunited in close contact. She does look like she's a little bit happier now. Still listening out, but I don't know, I think that facial expression is softened a bit. If you can say a leopard's facial expression softens in any way whatsoever. She is a beautiful cat. Toby, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Tlalamba, very, very smart to be cautious like this. And that's why she survived up until this point, and that'll hold her in good stead going forward as well. Now, I'm not going to be starting the vehicle or moving or making any noise here, because we don't want to startle this little cub. It's obviously trying to keep itself nicely hidden as it makes its way up towards Mummy. But I think we've got a good view from here anyway, with Thandi looking almost straight at us. And there she obviously needs to catch up on a bit of downtime. There we are, that looks a bit more comfortable than you were earlier. Slightly. Where is little Tlalamba? Still making her way through the grass. Well, that's why we're here in the Sabi Sands, I believe, because of these particular cats. It's wonderful to spend so much time with them. Okay, so let's wait and see what happens with this little cub eventually getting through the grass. While we wait, off to Steve and the lions. I made it to the base of the tree, and I think it's planning its attack as to how to get up it. Not quite as comfortable, I think, as Mom climbing up the tree. Still got lots to learn. And, well, that's obviously what Mommy's trying to do here. Come on then, up you come. If you want some food, if you want me, you better come up. So he needs to learn the ropes, and learn how to use those claws, get the climbing skills going. But very good in the way it's hiding itself and keeping a low profile. Well done, little girl. Oh, decided she's not going to climb up. Just going to go underneath Mom and hope for a couple of scraps. There we go, there's a return call. See that? Oh, she's all playful, you see there? She's really spotted Mom nicely now. She says, oh, there you are. Let me come. Oh, there she goes. I think she's calmed down now that she's able to show herself. Mommy says it's fine. There we go. Making space for the little one. Aha. Oh. They managed to not fall out the tree. Come on down for breakfast. The little one looks a bit stuck there. Maybe doesn't want to climb down now. That was funny. I think she's, excuse me, I think she's brought that down now for breakfast so that she can eat it nicely on the ground. This is very nice to watch. Come on, little one. Off you go get some breakfast. Calling going on. Oh, Jojo, yes, I also did think that especially the little one might fall out the tree. And it's quite funny now. It's almost like she's not allowing Tlalamba to go and have a feed. What's going on, Thandi? What lessons are you teaching the little one now? Definitely something didn't sit right with her there. Maybe she wants to eat first, which is understandable. Wait your turn, little one. Yep, Mommy's now having a bite herself. And while that is instinctive behavior of leopards is still true, I mean, they will allow the cub to feed, but if she's busy feeding, sometimes it can be a little bit of back off, wait for me to finish, and then you can have some yourself. So it doesn't make her any less of a mother. She's teaching valuable lessons right throughout. And going and trying to eat with another leopard is not a good idea, so maybe it's one of those. She's getting stuck in there now. Claire, yes, absolutely. There's lots of lessons being taught and learnt here. Little cub must do as it's told and come when it's called. Maybe it took too long. Maybe Mom was calling it and it wasn't responding, and now she's just putting it in its place a little bit. But that's the ways of the wild. It's not, we're trying to work it all out here, but there are small little lessons in everything in their life. And she is a fascinating mom, a wonderful cat to watch. And, I'm sure she's going to bring this little cub up to adulthood. Let's hope so. And these lessons are the ones that she needs to learn, and learn good, because they're going to help her survive. Something not sitting that well while she's feeding there. So the little cub just watching on a few meters away after that scolding that she got, and she tried to immediately go in for the food. I think that was maybe a little bit too quick for her just to go in and say, I'm going to eat. Okay, I think I might reposition a little bit, just get at a slightly better view without disturbing them, obviously. While I do that, let's head on over to Steve with those other cats. Well, everyone, we're watching now. Thandi still, she's now getting stuck in with that Steenbok. She's having a good feed, lots of breaking of bones. If we listen out, we might just hear it. Crunching bones. There we go. That's amazing how they can crush those bones. She's now deep in the grass there, so not easy for us to get a good view. The little cub still just sitting a meter or two away. Thandi keeps looking towards the cub. The cub's just in there somewhere, just a meter or two off. Difficult to see now that they're in the long grass. In there somewhere. Amazing, the camouflage. I think today's the day she needs to finish the Steenbok, otherwise it's going to be getting got by other predators. There we are. Once she's had her full, she'll let the cub come and have a bite. There, she's biting down again. I was surprised at how little they'd actually fed on this Steenbok yesterday. Now they're going to have more of a feed today, I think. There, start crunching. Using all of those canines and the incisors and then the molars at the back and everything to cut and slice the meat, and also to grind it and grind some of the bones. And their stomach digestion is not as acidic as that of hyenas, so you very often find in their scat, the first scat that they have, because there's so much blood and they normally eat in the organs and so on, very black, very sloppy. And then after that, where they're feeding now, you're going to start to have second, third scat is when you start to have, it's a little bit more solid because they're eating more flesh. And then later you have even bone fragments, claws, all sorts coming through there. Now she's sitting up. Chris, Tlalamba at her age right now, she could probably eat, in excess of 1 kilogram, even maybe 2 kilograms. But I wouldn't say too much more than that at her age. But that's a healthy meal. I mean, if you think, if I go to a restaurant and I have a 500-gram steak, I know I do have some sides with it, but that is a lot of meat for me. And, I'm sort of 80 kilograms, 6'3", and for a little cub like that, probably a kilogram is a lot of meat as well. So it would be quite gorged, and it would be able to survive on that for a good few days. So there's a difference there. I'll have my steak this evening, and I'll have breakfast tomorrow morning. So I think the metabolism or the way we use the energy differs. And they are able to extract, I think, more energy out of the pure meat protein than we are. Evangeline, the scar-faced lion, I think you might be talking about the Birmingham boys, either that or because I know the scar-faced lion in the Masai Mara, but I think you might be referring to one of the Birmingham boys, because I don't know the scar-faced lion here, but there's some lions with lots of scars on them. However, some of the male lions could come into the area, and if they spot these leopards, they'll really try to kill them. Yes, but that's why little cub was very careful when she came here, because she was hiding and she was waiting for mommy to call her, and she's hiding away from things like hyena and lion and other leopards. And at the moment, the best way for her not to get eaten or killed by lions is to climb up a tree or hide in a thick bush. So that's what she'll do, and when she does that, she'll go in there and she'll be absolutely quiet, and the lions will then normally not be able to find her, and which will be her best tactic to stay alive. So she's made it this far, and once they're at this age that the little cub is now, she's got a very good chance of actually surviving to be an adult and having cubs of her own. So Thandi, the mom, has done very well at getting the little cub Tlalamba to this age, and she's given her a very good chance. And with her having killed the Steenbok, well, her chances have just got even better. Every day in the bush is a battle for survival, and when you see things like this, where a leopard has got a Steenbok, well, the Steenbok didn't survive to make it through to today, but because the leopard is eating that Steenbok, it means that it can survive possibly until tomorrow. She's still feeding on it, not giving the cub anything just yet. She's really making it wait for its breakfast. More crunching. See, with that small animal like a Steenbok, she could probably eat pretty much the entire animal. Even the hooves, the skull, everything. Obviously the brain is also very rich in protein, so it's one of those like the liver, the kidneys, the heart, the brains, but not always accessible, especially once you get into bigger animals. It's not that accessible to predators like leopard, because I can't crush the skull, but with a small animal like a Steenbok, she could probably pretty much crush the entire skull. She'll get access to that brain. So let's hope that she sits up, and let's also hope that she gives Tlalamba a little bit of this food. I'm sure she's quite hungry, but I hear that Brent is also sitting in the long grass, just like Thandi. Okay, everyone, the action has just now hit full throttle. There's a hyena that's just run into the area. The little cub has run off and now climbed up a tree. So there's exactly what we're talking about. There's Thandi. She's gone back up the tree with the Steenbok. There's the cub up a tree as well. And this hyena now sniffing around the base. And it all happened in a matter of just a second. We just saw the cub running off. Thandi grabbed the Steenbok and up the tree she went, and look at the little cub, also knowing exactly where it needs to go. And it's now watching the hyena circling around the base of this tree. Who also wants a piece of the Steenbok, I think. Well, I don't think, I know it does. And it's obviously, it came from downwind. It came from downwind, so it's picked up the smell of this Steenbok carcass, and, well, wants a piece of the action. And it's a big female hyena as well. We'll see what happens, but everybody in with trying to survive, and that's what we were just talking about. So all the more reason why Thandi needs to be on her toes, and wonderful that the little cub has just immediately gone straight up that tree there. Look at that. It's high enough off the ground that it's safe. Natureville, I very much agree with you. I'm glad that hyenas don't climb trees, because if they did, Thandi would be in big trouble, and so would that little cub. That cub would probably be dead already. But that's one of the evolutionary lines that the leopard have taken to avoid hyena and lions on the ground, and what makes them quite special. They're so adaptable. And it's wonderful to see this, that the hyenas come in, and I think just sniffing around the bases, licking the grass, probably can taste this meal, but just can't get to it. Must be really frustrating. And Carol, this hyena could stay here for an extended period of time. It knows that there's food here, and yeah, this could all get quite interesting, because this hyena now has got the smell and probably the taste for blood there on the ground where Thandi was busy feeding on that Steenbok. So this hyena now is obviously hungry too, and we know how tenacious hyenas can be. So I'm just waiting for things to possibly settle down a little bit, and then I'll maybe reposition that we can get a better view. I just don't, it's quite edgy for the little cub and for Thandi, so I don't want to disturb anybody. And, well, the cub's still, looking off from a distance there, but from a safe vantage point, I'm not too worried about that cub at the moment. But, well, this is the fights for survival that we were just talking about, everyone. I mean, this hyena now could potentially, attack Thandi if she comes down. It could kill the cub. It could steal the meal. There's anything that can happen. Or they could all, Thandi could stay up there, wait it out. She's going off onto the end of a branch there. I hope that it doesn't break. And, well, Thandi's killed a Steenbok, which has taken it away from its little family. So, there's no discriminating in the bush and in the wild. This hyena is hungry, and it doesn't care that the leopard is trying to feed its little cub. She is possibly trying to feed her little cubs. Granny Peg, I definitely do believe that Thandi would have a real fight if a hyena had to get hold of her cub. Yeah, she'd have to fight with her life, and she probably will do. And I'm sure you know that mothers, there's nothing like a mother to scare off anybody or an animal, especially when they put their offspring in danger. This hyena seems to be wandering off a little bit. Maybe it's realized that there's not much chance in it getting any of the meat from that Steenbok. Very interesting, eh? That little cub still up the tree there. I think that hyena's just wandered off a little bit. I can't see if it's carried on going. But, perfect reactions that these two animals had. Thandi grabbed and jumped straight up the tree, and the little one bolted off and found its own little tree to climb up. It'll be interesting to see how it gets down. I don't know if any of you have ever felt the power of adrenaline. I've been able to climb up trees when I've been chased by a buffalo and black rhino, and getting up very high up the tree, and once the animal is gone and the adrenaline wears off, you realize, you're not quite sure how you got that high, because it was almost impossible to get down. So I hope that this little cub is able to get down. Oh, Chris Rogue, thank you for identifying. So this is June, Scarback's daughter. That's brilliant. I do have my little ID pack here, but I'm not looking quite intently at the little spots and things just yet, because I'm more interested in the action here. But thank you so much, Chris Rogue. So June, I think she's one of the higher ranking females, isn't she? That says a lot, because she is a big hyena, and she moved in fast, eh? The only thing faster than her was, and only slightly, was Thandi jumping up the tree. And luckily that little cub picked it up so quickly. I'm sure there's been hyenas around here during the night as well. That's why they were so edgy, and why it reacted so fast as well. Because the hyena came bounding in, and if they weren't alert, it possibly would have been straight in onto that Steenbok kill. That is absolutely wonderful. All unfolding right in front of us. Lots of excitement. Now, little one, you just need to wait it out again. Shame, your nerves are probably shot. That's probably why Thandi is so tired. She's probably had the whole night of this. It's not only impala that needs to be on edge during the night. Even leopards can be on edge, eh? Especially when they've finally got the prize of killing an animal. They've got food, but what does that do? That just invites everybody into their space. Lions, hyenas, other leopard. So it's almost like, they do need to try and finish the food and get it into their bodies as quickly as possible. The one feeling a little bit exposed there, I think. Okay, I think I might reposition as well and just get us a better view of both of these and see what's happening here with the hyena. But this is all very exciting. Let's see what's happening over with Steve, however. And is he still with the lions? Well, it seems like this hyena might have moved off a little bit, because Thandi has now been contact calling again, and Tlalamba has basically fallen out of that silver cluster leaf that she was in. It wasn't the most gracious descent, but now she's making her way over to the tree where Thandi's in. She's just moving through the long grass. There she is. Well done, Dave. There we go. I think she might be now going to climb up the tree, but I think that hyena has given up the attempt. There we go, little one. Well done. See, I still think a very well chosen tree for this youngster by Mommy. And she's now... There we go, she's coming nice and close to us. And find herself a nice sleeping spot. I think she does want to get herself something to eat, but she's on the wrong branch now. I think that Steenbok was stashed there at a stage. That's where she was previously, so she's now just having a bit of a lick at probably some of the blood, getting excited about the food that awaits. But it's not there, little one. You're going to have to go and try and ask Mommy very nicely if you can have some. I'd like to have a look once we can. I'm not quite sure on the spot ratio of this little one. But we'll wait and see. So that hyena June, one of the higher ranking females, has moved off, I think. Tlalamba now at the bottom there, looking to get up to Mom, who's now changed position onto that other branch. There she is, looks like she's relaxing, her legs now falling down, going into a real leopard sleeping pose, arms either side of the branch. And there she goes up the branch. Ryan, Thandi, she could potentially kill a hyena, but a hyena could also potentially kill her. It would be touch and go. A big female like that June that was just here, I think would really give Thandi a good go. However, leopards are very, strong and skillful leopard. Thandi, however, she's not the biggest leopard that I've ever seen, and I think that June would really be a good match for her. So it would be interesting to see. But yeah, between hyena and leopard, tough call. I think a big male leopard would be able to do it quite easily. Somebody like Hukumuri, Quarantine, these big male leopards that are around, I think they could definitely give the hyena a good go. But hyena are a tough one. I'm sure you've seen some of the action with the male lions, or lions in general, and hyena. And yes, normally the hyenas do have, more numbers, but they still even give lions a good go. So leopard, they are very wary of hyena in general because of their sheer tenacity and their stubbornness. Ooh, just falling down a bit. As well as their sheer toughness as well. Is that Mom coming down? She stashed that Steenbok up in the tree, I think. She's now also coming down a bit. She can't leave that meat on the ground. So this little one's going to have to learn to get up in the tree and feed up in the branches. I said we don't have an ideal view from here, but with all this action, we're just not moving around, disturbing it, changing it in any way. And just letting it, if they relax and not much happening, then we can always shift and get a better view. But for the time being, we just need to let things unfold in front of us. Okay, while we see what goes on and how things unfold here, let's head you on over to Brent and see how things are unfolding there. Well, look at that, everyone. This is what we've been waiting for. Now, Thandi has left the meat and allowed Tlalamba to move in and go and have breakfast. Now, she took quite a while to find where the Steenbok was. She could smell it, but she couldn't see it. And she kept on going down and towards Mom and doing the contact calling, the little arr, arr. And Mom was looking quite irritated because she was probably like, it's up there, you just need to go and find it. Now off you go. Don't take a chance in taking it down the bottom, little one. You need to learn that these hyenas are around. It wasn't in a good spot to feed on there, so it's grabbed it and pulled it out. Still holding it though. Now this is very good news that little one's having a feed. Every feed counts, and every feed is going to mean that she's going to just grow that little bit more and have a little bit more of a chance of survival. So, fantastic. The death of one means the life of another, and a big shame for the little Steenbok, but it allows Thandi and Tlalamba to have a better chance at survival. and there's not going to be one single inch of that animal wasted, because they're going to eat as much as they can or as much as they want, and whatever's left is going to get scavenged on by jackals and hyena, and then whatever else is left from there will be decomposed by ants and all sorts of little arthropods. Nothing gets wasted out here. I think she might drop it, but she's doing pretty well at holding on to it. She hasn't pinned it in a fork or anything, so that Steenbok's just staying up there by sheer tenacity of the little one holding it there. It's probably got its claws dug into it. I don't know if Mom's left it too much. It hasn't got too much meat left on it. Well, the little one's going to have to get into all the little scraps there. I think the head is still intact, so there's still quite a bit inside that skull if they can access it. The little one won't really be able to break open the skull, I don't think, with the small mouth that she's got. Anna Marie, yes, well, leopards don't generally eat in the most comfortable positions, so I think they're quite used to it. And well, as you can see here, they start doing it from a very young age. So I suppose you're only uncomfortable if you're not used to being uncomfortable. And look at Mom, she looks very comfortable over there, sleeping off the breakfast. Well, Tlalamba eats with a new kind of style, sort of almost upside down, hanging from the side of a tree. There's a style you can try at home. Try and eat breakfast, excuse me, while hanging in a tree. Yeah, it's just a shame, Davy was saying as well, it's a shame of the colours this morning. A little bit grey, not really getting nice contrasts with the sun poking through the golden light and so on. Well, but we're not going to complain. It's just that would have made it that much better. And, well, speaking of grey, let's head you on over to Steve for the meantime with lots of grey animals. Oh, she's still moving. Well, look at this, everyone. A very good practice for this little Tlalamba. Getting those neck muscles and jaw muscles working nicely. She's been carrying the Steenbok around in the tree. She nearly dropped it a minute ago, but she managed to catch it with some very stealthily skillful claws to the head of the Steenbok. So it's not the best picture for anybody that's got a soft stomach, but very good practice for her to be doing this. And I'm sure that's part and parcel to what Mommy was trying to achieve. And look at that one claw just holding this entire animal up. Look at that. I think there might be one or two in the neck there as well, but that one's nicely showing there. Now she's having a good go at the ear. It's quite soft there. There we are. She's really doing an extreme breakfast feed, this hanging down the side of a tree trunk with the Steenbok hanging in your one hand. There, trying to get it up a bit higher now. I think Mommy's watching on. Mommy's watching on. Yeah, pangolin. Yeah, it's probably not that tasty, the ear, but well, it's all part of the protein nutrient that they need. And Mommy looking quite irritated there, probably quite concerned that she's going to drop that, because if she drops that, I think you might find that those hyenas appear out of nowhere again. So if she does drop it, she'd have to hoist it back up quite quickly. Mommy's just keeping a beady eye on her, making sure that she doesn't attract the hyenas back. Quite windy at the moment. I'm surprised there's not more hyena around, because when we were downwind of it, it's already smelling quite strongly. So it's amazing though. They were on the ground for a little while and those hyenas appeared from nowhere. It was like they're just hanging on the fringes, waiting for any little mistake that these two might make. But Thandi obviously experienced enough to know that there are hyenas around. I think she did take it onto the ground. I thought initially to let the cub have a feed, but then she just went ahead and fed on it herself. Maybe she decided once she was on the ground, but she was actually quite peckish. She'll just have a bit of a bite. But, well, this youngster's really getting not much in terms of thick flesh. Yeah, she's really having to work those little teeth there to get at the meat on this Steenbok. Well, it's also part of the learning process, where the meat is, and also if you get the remains of a kill, there's still accessible meat. You've just got to work it a bit harder than the gut and the hind quarters. There's lots of meat on those legs. If I was her, I'd be going there. But maybe the tastier meat is up here by the head. Although I think she's just actually eating wherever she can at the moment. Oh, that was nearly a drop. Now, Nola, they generally will go for the legs a little bit later on in the feed, so there's still better, tastier and nutritious meat around the neck, around the rump, and on the chest as well. So obviously first and foremost the gut with the lungs, the liver, the kidney, the heart. That's first prize, and what most predators, smaller predators especially, go for immediately, because if they can get that and nothing else before hyenas or anything come and chase them off, well, they've done well, because it's so rich in protein. And then then they go for the softer fleshy parts, being the rump, and it's normally close to where they would have opened it up in the bowel as well. And then later, then they go on to the head, because there's also the brains, which is probably smelling quite nice and also very rich in protein. So that's why it's going around the mouth area, the nose and everything. But it's actually because I believe that they're trying to get into to the brains. And now I think this little one, Tlalamba, is actually just getting in wherever it's soft, and just trying to get into anywhere where there's flesh exposed. So she probably doesn't really know that well which exact parts to go for. She's probably just getting into anything and learning as she goes. Where's the best part to feed, and slowly get into the juicy stuff and realize where the best parts of the body to feed on are. So, Tlalamba and Thandi up a tree, and this is an African wattle. Let's head you on over to Brent and continue on that tree quiz. Yeah, she's really struggling there. But, a minute ago she had her legs also hanging down the back of that fork in the trunk, and she's still managing to keep it up in the tree. Barely, but it's there. It hasn't fallen on the ground just yet. It's quite comical the way that she's just hanging in there and having a meal at the same time. See, they're working the carnassial shear, trying to cut that meat and skin away so that she can feed on it. There, it's working. Deb, if if she had to drop this, I'm pretty sure the way that she's been carrying it around in the branches, I'm pretty sure she would be able to retrieve it. However, she might get scolded by Mom. I'd probably tell her to hurry up. And Thandi might also be down in a shot to try and get it up as quickly as possible. But yeah, I don't think it would be the end of the world. It's just, it would be better if she kept it up in the tree just to keep away those pesky hyenas who also need to eat. But this little one just needs to hang on and hang in there and keep feeding. There, she's getting into the nice hind quarters now. Now she can get some meat. Look, she's almost getting a bit more excited. I think she's realized there's a bit more meat in that there. There we are. Not down the bottom part of the legs, but the top part, sort of around the hip area, where she's going to get nice, juicy meat in there. I think we've one of the vehicles in front, I think, might have just gotten stuck. But we'll leave him to it for the time being. If he doesn't get out, I might have to go over and help him before he makes too much noise here right next to this sighting. Oopsie, I think he might be stuck. Cat, that's a good question. I don't know of any other caching type predators. I know of birds that do it, obviously, but for true large predators that we have in Africa, it's pretty much only the leopard that does this caching or taking their food up into a tree. With a lot of the other predators, they might push or take their kills immediately underneath bushes. But this is quite unique with the leopard, and why I believe is one of the reasons why they're so successful, because they are actually able to get up the trees, and they are so agile in the branches, and especially climbing up massive trunked marulas, which are, there's nothing else, there's no branches coming out from the trunk, sometimes up to, 10 meters in the air. And at that point, then they have lovely big secondary branches coming off the trunk, and they're then able to lie there and eat off of that. And this here being a wattle, as I said earlier, I think Thandi having chosen this just for sheer ease for the cub to move around and learn how to negotiate. It seems like it likes that position. It's quite strange. Sometimes we have weird habits. Maybe this one's going to land up liking to hang and eat Tlalamba. Maybe it's just this particular tree. You can't find a comfortable position. Oh, wonderful. Still lots of meat on that little Steenbok. And, well, they'll have to, they wouldn't survive long on a little Steenbok like this. It's a half-decent meal for this little cub. But Thandi's going to have to eat a lot more than that. So she could eat one of these maybe every 2 or 3 days, possibly. But she'd have to get something a bit bigger. Maybe an impala, maybe a duiker. A little bit bigger, they're probably double the size than a Steenbok. A duiker a little bit better. Warthog also nice fat warthog would go down very well. Some like the Cape Mountain leopard, their predominant food source is baboons because of the mountains that they live in, and in a lot of areas as well. Mapingubwe up in the northwest. Also, those leopards live in the mountains there, and the most predominant animal is baboons. So there's a real passionate hate relationship between baboons and leopard. It's almost like hyena and lions, because they interact a lot with each other. And while the leopards do take them out, but the baboons, if they can find a cub or if they find a vulnerable leopard, they'll kill it as well. And they'll come together as a troop and attack the leopards, almost in the same way as hyenas do with lions. It's quite similar, but with different species. He's found a little fork there now. Doesn't have to hang on to it anymore. Tlalamba, you're making heavy work of this. Oh, look at that branch. I don't know about that. This could end up being quite comical. She's got a bit of a seesaw going there now. So this is really extreme breakfast. I hope it's making you all hungry. I don't know, it's turning my stomach a little bit. But I think she's still trying to work out where is the best place to put this. Well, she's definitely working for her breakfast. I think if that was the idea, well, it's worked. She's definitely having to put all her skills and use her brain to think about what's going on here and try and get into. I think she's still hungry, but she just can't get it into a nice position. She can feed on it nicely. Snazzy, I agree with you. She does indeed have amazing balance. And yeah, I thought earlier that when she first went for the carcass and Thandi picked it up and they had a sort of a bit of an altercation there up in the branches, I thought they were both going to fall out. But that just shows how skillful they are in the branches, how their balance is so perfect and in tune. I don't think you can get a more skillful animal than, especially with these kind of skills, than a leopard. Tree climbing, balance. He's had a little bit, but I think she's a bit irritated with eating at great heights, hanging from a branch. Might have to go and have a rest. Maybe it was quite tiring, that eating like that. I wouldn't be surprised. She's having a look at it. I think she wants to go back for more. Kia, it's about that time now that this youngster is now feeding on meat. This is now, that whole process has begun of teaching the Tlalamba how to, okay, for now it's actually feeding on the meat because that's the primary objective, getting the little leopard to eat meat protein only and get a taste for it and really want it. And then the tree climbing ability. What's going on now? What has she spotted? Oh, it's a little mongoose, dwarf mongoose. Speaking of hunting, maybe she thinks she can go and catch one of those. Well, good luck on that one, Tlalamba. Those little critters are going to spot you and work you out very quickly. I just saw one scuttling off as she jumped down. I think that might be what she's after. So that's one of the lessons she might have to learn as well, that the different prey species that she can actually potentially catch. And the dwarf mongoose is going to be a difficult one. But yes, to finish off that question, it's not going to be long, I believe, and Thandi is going to bring back some live prey. As Thandi is now stretching and starting to come down the branch, I wonder what's going on. Maybe she's going to go for more to eat, or maybe she's just going to go check up on what Tlalamba's getting up to. So it's nearly that time for her to bring back some live prey and get her practicing with that. And she could do it with something like that little Steenbok that they've just had now. That would be a perfect size. So that's the exact kind of prey that Thandi is going to be probably looking for little Tlalamba to learn. Both feeding on and learning to kill. So it won't be long. There I can hear the little dwarf mongoose now giving alarm calls. I think Tlalamba is stalking them through the grass. But I think they've now spotted her. Thundi's also spotted something. You know, it's not impossible for Thandi to hunt again now, eh? A very small kill that for her. She could eat 3 of those quite easily. See how leopards also get quite irritated when there's any kind of alarm call. They almost want to get away from it immediately or try to get rid of it, you know, if there's any kind of go-away birds calling or guinea fowl, and at the moment it's now these little dwarf mongoose that are calling at them. You see how ears go sort of flat like that. It's an irritated kind of pose, that, with body language wise. And I put the ears down like that, and a little bit of tail flicking. That's real irritation. I think she's eyeing up that meat. There she goes. I'll watch the master at work. Show Tlalamba how it's done. She's probably going to pin it again, or is she going back down on the ground? Nope. Looks like she's going all the way down. Tempting fate with these hyenas. Back where she had it, when the hyenas stormed in. She's calling the cub. She's saying, come on, leave those pesky dwarf mongoose and come and get some food. We've already got here, you don't need to go looking for more. Give away our position like that. He's calling the cub. Tlalamba. Wow, everyone, I mean, I haven't moved from here this morning, and it's been wonderful. Thanks to Brent for finding this yesterday. And it's always nice, once you know that there's a leopard with a kill, you can pretty much guarantee coming back the next day that they're going to be there. Well, that's exactly what's happened. And now she's disappearing off. I think she's going looking for Tlalamba, who is just through on the other side there. I think it was Thandi marking. It's quick, they disappear in the grass, eh? You can just see her head there above the thick grass. She is still there. Not very clear though. Right, everyone, I'm just going to wait and see what happens here. Just maybe try and reposition, get a bit of view on them. And but I think Brent, I think he smelt the egg and bacon. Let's see how he's going on his way back to camp. What a wonderful sighting it has been. Thandi has taken that meat down onto the ground, and there was a little bit of cat and mouse between her and the cub just now. The Tlalamba just stalked her, and but Thandi wasn't that impressed. She just went back to the meat now, and she's now feeding again and giving Tlalamba a little bit of a hiss as she came nearby. But it's a shame she's just in the long grass. There's Tlalamba there in the branch, which she's now sleeping on. So I might just come up a little bit. I don't want to disturb either of them. There we are, coming round. Just move a little bit forward. I don't want to disturb them. Just a little bit more. And we can maybe get a view from here. How's that, Davy? There we go. Pangolin, absolutely. Once I get into a sighting like this, I'm not going to be going anywhere. And my job was very easy this morning indeed. I agree with you. But wow, this is why we do what we do, isn't it? This really is the cream of being a guide. Sitting with a female leopard and cub on a kill. And none other than Thandi and Tlalamba. Perfect. They could well still be here this afternoon. I think it might be Steve's or James's turn to come here then next. Our herbsman, that's an interesting question you've asked. I don't know of females mock mating with males to protect their young. That's something I didn't even think of. You know, the only mock mating that I know of is, in dominance, when even female dogs sort of do the whole mating sort of movement on other dogs, but it's just a dominance display. A lot of people, humans think it's totally weird, but it actually isn't. It's just a dominance display, getting the once over on a subordinate animal or trying to dominate another animal, whether you're male or female. That is a sort of a universal domination type movement with animals. So you very often get that kind of mock mating with females doing it with males. But I don't know of it happening with females potentially mating with males to protect their young. It doesn't really make sense, because if there are cubs around that aren't your own, you need to get rid of those cubs to stop the female lactating in order for you to sire your own cubs. So it's not the actual fact of mating. It's the offspring that are present, and then the cycle and the phase that the female is in her cycle. That is more important than the actual act of mating, if that answers your question. And this little cub, very playful, had a little bit of food. Now it's watching out for all the little dwarf mongoose. There was a little bird that flew in now. He was having a look. And Thandi's gone now. Now she's feeding some more. Jarasco, you are very welcome. I must say thank you to you, the viewers, for allowing me to stay here, because without you I wouldn't be able to do what I do. So at the end of the day, I need to thank everybody for allowing me to be able to do what I do once again. I often used to say that to my guests. They used to thank me, and I used to thank them for coming on holiday, so that I could guide them, because without them I wouldn't be out there doing exactly that. So I think it's a mutually beneficial relationship, everyone. I love being out here, and if I can bring you pictures like this, well, I'll keep enjoying it and keep sending through the visuals and putting through all the information that I know and all the knowledge that I can share and my experiences, etc. So we are heading just a little bit closer towards the end of our show now. Not too much longer to go. It's going to be interesting to see what happens now with between the drives, this afternoon's drive. I wonder if Thandi and Tlalamba are still going to be here this afternoon, or if a hyena is going to come in and steal this kill. I'm sure Thandi will have to take it back up into the tree, but that's the bush, that's the wild. We will just have to wait and see. Now, I want to thank everybody, from the wonderful cam ops to everybody in the FC, to Steve and Brent who were out on walk, but most importantly to all you, the viewers, for allowing us to do what we do. Join us again this afternoon, again for Safari Live. See you later, everyone. Have a nice day, evening, morning, wherever you are.